Good evening and welcome to our show, Paranormal Perspectives. Welcome back all of you that joined us last week, and hello to all of you that are listening for the first time. My name's Tracey.
And I'm Jess.
And we are members of a local paranormal investigations team, and we are called Paranormal Journeys and Investigations. And we just thought it would be a good idea to have a weekly show, 9 o'clock each Saturday, just to talk about all things paranormal. Now, we didn't get to finish our conversation last week, Jess, and we promised we'd return to it. The good old Ouija boards.
Yeah, Ouija boards. Like I said, I don't really like to call them Ouija boards because I feel that it's got a bad stigma on it because of horror movies that have, used it to portray it as a devil's tool, I suppose.
Now, in all honesty, that's probably what 90% of the people think.
Yeah, exactly.
When they hear it. Yeah.
And I did as well. I, for years, was like, no, I'm never ever touching one of those because I was scared. Yeah. And I think that's where it all comes from, is fear. Whereas when you take the fear out of it from the horror movies, like pretend you haven't even watched the movies, you would just see it as a board with letters, numbers, yes and no, that you could communicate with. So taking that into perspective, I have the same views. Whereas I know that if I use this board, I am 100% protected because I have so much faith that my angels are there protecting me the whole time. So nothing negative and that doesn't work for our highest good will come through the channel that we open for communication.
Unless maybe you want.
Yeah, unless we ask for it. Because like I said in our last show, everything is about intention. So if you go in looking for drama and looking for anything negative, that's exactly what you're going to get. Because all you have to do is ask and you shall receive. So if I'm going in with the intention of channeling higher spirit guides, my angels, or anyone that has messages that benefits our highest good, then that's exactly what I'm going to get. Okay.
Now, the reason I haven't used a Ouija board or a spirit board since I was probably in my early teens, I've always felt that, like a lot of people, it's a channel where evil, any energy can come through, whether it be good or evil. A lot of people have said to me that why do I feel safe using spirit boxes and doing voice recordings, using any tools that we use on our investigations. Now, the way I see it is, if I'm communicating with spirit through, I will use the spirit box as an example, the spirit is using the energy of that spirit box to come through and communicate with me. Now, with a Ouija board, I've always been told that they use your own energy, and that's how a lot of people assume that we can become possessed or overtaken by these spirits. What's your thought on that?
That's very understandable because that's so true. You are the vessel that the energy is using to guide the letters through the spirit board. So it makes a lot of sense. But like I said, if you have that knowing that you are going to be protected, your energy and your aura is protected from anything being able to attach to you. And in saying that, if you do feel a bit odd and you don't feel like yourself, cleanse your own energy and ask for anything that is attached to you to go back to source or go back to where it belongs and have your own energy back. And you can do that by having a hot shower or a hot bath, sage, crystal healing, anything like that that you resonate with that can help you feel good and cleanse your own body and aura, then do it. By all means, it's probably the best way to protect yourself from anything like that.
So there's different ways to protect ourselves, really, isn't there? Like, for example, on any investigation that I do, I always wear my amethyst crystal.
I did notice that. We all wore amethyst as our necklace
that
look,
day. Even my pen has amethyst on, an amethyst stone on my pen. Now, I also just say, like, I'll be the first to admit I'm not religious. I like to think of myself as being spiritual.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what happens after we die. That's why I'm in this paranormal team is I want to learn all I can. I'm not saying that there is a God or there isn't a God. I'm not saying that there is or isn't hell. I'm just saying I don't know.
Yeah.
And I want to learn myself. So I don't say a prayer as such. I just ask my family and friends that have passed, my spirit guides, to protect me and look over me. And I just have a little talk and say that nothing negative is allowed to follow me home, come home with me, or to enter my personal energy or space. What do you like to do?
Yeah, I'm the same. I actually found my spirituality. So I believe in God and I believe in Source. I believe that they're all one. We just have different names for them and people connect to them differently. Hence, all the different religions around the world, it's for that specific culture to relate to the one source that we are all a part of. So I found God and Jesus, because I connect to Jesus as one of my spirit guides, without the Bible, without religion, or without any influence from a controlled space like church. I found through my angels that's how I connect to my guides, I suppose, on the other side. Now, for a second, I forgot the question.
How do you protect yourself?
Oh, how do I protect myself? Well, so with that knowledge, I say a prayer, because when you say a prayer, you're just giving them permission, because they can't intervene because we've got free will. So if, we want them to help us, we have to give them permission and ask for them to help us, and so they will. So I start off with a prayer. I say, angels, please protect me through this journey that we're about to go on. Allow only the highest good to come into my energy field. And if anything negative does want to communicate, allow them to do so, because I feel negative and positive should have a voice. And if they want to say something, I feel that they should be able to, but not have them attached to me. So when I do a Ouija board or anything spiritual, I start off with an opening prayer to protect me, and then I end with a prayer. Now, the one thing that I suggest everyone should do if they're going into this is you have to end it properly.
Yes.
So if you don't end it properly, you're leaving a door open for anything to come through, because you'll be gone. You won't be there, and that door will kind of be still open. So if you close it properly with prayer and gratitude, thank you for protecting us, and thank you for all those spirits that were able to come in and communicate with us. We now let you go in peace, and we now close this door.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%, definitely. Yeah. Now, when I talk about paranormal investigating, a lot of you might think of good old Scully and Mulder from the X-Files or the Ghostbusters team. Believe me, it's not like that. We don't run around with these big packs on our backs and shooting at green gooey things popping up all over the place. But we also, maybe you've seen Ghost Adventures or Ghost Hunt on TV, it's not really like that at all. It's a little bit like that. We do go into haunted locations or supposed haunted locations. We sit in the dark. We talk to ourselves. We may sit there for hours on end. For example, we did do Napier Prison, and we got locked in at 8 p.m. that night, and they didn't unlock the doors until 8 a.m. the next morning. So we were there for the whole night, locked in, secure. And we did talk to ourselves in dark rooms for hours. We did walk around with all different types of equipment. But in saying that, we could be there. What were we there? We were there for 12 hours that night. And it could be that nothing happens the whole night. It's not really until we go home and over the next week or so go through all our voice recordings, go through all our video camera recordings, go through all our photos, just go through all the CCTV footage. It's not until then do we really find out what we have gathered as evidence of these locations. So it's definitely not jumping up every minute thinking something's touched me, thinking something's knocked over a vase in the corner. It's a lot of hours of just hoping that we do get something. So get those little images of Scully and Mulder out of your head, or the Ghostbusters, because that's not what we do. Basically, we just we're like a lot of you out there, we just want answers, and we just want to know what does happen when we die. Is that it? Do we just go to the ground or become ashes, or is there something else that does happen after? Now, different ways that we do have things appear to us. You were talking last week, I actually wanted to pick you up on it. You were talking about seeing orbs in a photo with you and your son.
I've got so many of them. So many of them, it's not even funny.
Now, a lot of people, orbs, it's dust. That's what they say.
It's a reflection of the light from the window.
Now, I will say that 90% of them are. Yeah. 90% of them are dust or bugs, insects, light reflection, sun reflection. This is actually one reason we do a lot of our investigations at night. It takes out the sun glare. It takes out reflection. It takes out a lot of shadow, not all shadow. It's not just for the spooky factor. It's to make our images a lot clearer and a lot easier to what they call debunk. So apart from orbs, how else have we had things appear to us? You said you've actually had shadows, yes?
Yeah, so there was that shadow under the door that we couldn't explain, and it was right there, and I know it was. And there was nothing. We eliminated every single possibility of what it could be. It wasn't a shadow. It wasn't any wind. It was just there.
Yeah, I've definitely seen a shadow as well. Yeah. Mine was, we were investigating the local area in Halcombe one night, just out in the country, and this black shadow about waist height ran past.
Wow.
So because we were in the country, we went and we made sure there was no sheep in the paddock, there was nothing in the paddock, there were no vehicles around because we were in paddocks.
Yeah.
There were no trees, there was nothing, but there was just this black shadow. So it blew me away because I don't actually see a lot of things, and I don't sense much around me. I don't hear spirit with my own ears. I don't see spirit. A lot of our team members, a lot of you do have some type of, I would call it talent or just pure luck that you do get to communicate in that way. Yeah. So it's good that we're all different.
Definitely.
Now, I have seen a lot of photos and video recordings where it hasn't appeared as a full body apparition. That's what it's called. If a spirit shows itself in full body form, it's an apparition. A lot of them are, as we said, orbs or shadows, but there's also mist. Now, have you ever seen a mist form?
No, I've never actually seen a mist form before, but I can understand why they would come across that way rather than a full body apparition, because they're essentially just energy. So it's like energy without a physical form. So a lot of the time you would probably see them as a mist, and you would mistake it for just mist or fog.
Yeah.
You know,
I took one photo myself, and like when you are taking photos on an investigation, you always take two photos, one straight after the other, so you've got something to compare to. Now, with this photo, in one photo there's nothing there, and then in the next photo there's this mist coming from the left side of the photo.
Wow.
And it probably goes across 3/4 of the photo.
Wow.
It looks like cigarette smoke.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. But I don't smoke. I don't vape. Back when this photo was taken, there was no such thing as vaping. As I said, there was no smoking. The air temperature wasn't cool. It was a still night. There was nothing that could have caused this mist. It wasn't like a cold night and I'd just taken a breath and let out my breath and made this cold air in the photo.
Yeah.
So it's pretty amazing when you do get these types of things and you can't explain them.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I've got videos because I'm quite a daredevil, so I like to be in my room when I'm sleeping and I turn all the lights off. Sorry, not when I'm sleeping, but when I'm about to go to sleep. And I put my phone on. I just put my flash on, put it on video, and I see what happens. A lot of the time I see I guess people looking at the videos could say it's like a speck of dust. You know how there's still kind of air in the room and they kind of fly through the photos. And it's not actually, I'm probably sitting there for about 5 minutes and then I'll look back at it. It's not until I look back is when I see everything. So there was this one time and I was looking back on a video and I just, in the corner of my eye of the video, looked at my wall in the corner and I rewound it. And there was this black shadow that it was like crawling down the wall really fast. Oh. And so I saw that and then I replayed it again and noticed that there was a mirror image of one, but it was slower. So it came down just after the first one on the opposite wall. So that was bizarre in itself. And I showed my classmates the next day, and they all saw it. I slowed it down, I edited, I cropped the video, so it was just, instead of 5 minutes this video, they're waiting for it. It's like a quick 20-second video, and it's right there, and they all saw it.
Oh, my gosh. And was that when you were living in Hamilton?
Yeah, that was in Hamilton.
Damn, so I can't go. I can't investigate that house.
But that's just an example of one of them. I've got so my son's baptism. He's got actually a bright blue orb that kind of follows us through his through the church. So they're in so many different photos. And because my dad's passed away, I felt that was him coming through real strong, because it's such an important day. You know, our son's turning 1, and it's his baptism because his father's Catholic. And the blue orb was exactly where you would expect him to be. So he was next to his lolo, which is grandfather in Tagalog, because he's Filipino. And so that's exactly where we would imagine him to be, right next to Anthony. And it was really beautiful, actually. It took any negative notions that orbs have out of it, because it was such a special day, and it was beautiful to just know that he was there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now, I was just wanting to talk about Hayden Manor, Jessie. You haven't actually heard of Hayden Manor, have you? Because you're new to the area. Now, this is a lovely place out in Arahuri. It was built in 1896 by Mr. and Mrs. Johnston. Now, it remained in the family until 1922, after his wife Cecilia died. Mr. Johnston had already passed. Now, I'm not sure if Cecilia died on the property or not. I can't actually find, I need to go through some archives. I can't actually find how she passed away. So it was sold to the Catholic Church. Now, they had a self-sustaining farm at the Hayden Manor. They had some priests and students that actually lived there full time. And then in 1931, when we had the Napier earthquake, the chapel actually collapsed, and it killed 7 of the students and 2 of the priests. Now, apparently, they have remained on the property, and there's lots of stories out there about hauntings and people actually being scared to remain there. Back when it was a bed and breakfast, there was one couple that actually left in the middle of the night.
Wow, you know it's serious when they're packing up and leaving in the middle of the night.
Definitely, especially when Hayden Manor, it's just beautiful. It's a very old, of course, been built 1896, and it's been restored to its former glory. It's a beautiful place to look at, and if you've ever been there, I envy you, because it is such a gorgeous place. Now, I did mention last week that we're hoping to do a yearly charity event, Ghost Hunt, where we invite you along to join us, and the money will be going to charity. We are hoping that Hayden Manor may come on board. So Hayden Manor, if you know the owners, or if you're listening, please get in touch with Paranormal Journeys and Investigations. We'd love to have a yearly charity event ghost hunt there. It would just be such a beautiful place to actually be able to explore as well. And if any of you have ever stayed there or visited there and had an experience, let us know. We'd love to hear about it. Now, another place that's actually a local place that's had quite a few hauntings is my own house.
I have heard.
You've heard?
Yeah, I have.
I bet you have. Now, we have a who we feel is a young girl. I'm assuming she's probably around 6 or 7 years old, and she is in our house quite often. She likes to play tricks on us. She likes to move she likes to move objects. For example, my husband and I both wear glasses to read or to watch TV, etc. And, of course, they're on tables when we go to bed at night. And when we wake up in the morning, they're right where you'd put your feet when you turn around, swing yourself off the bed. Another one of her little tricks is she actually likes to mimic. She likes to mimic people's voices. There was one instance where I was having a sleep-in, which us parents hardly ever get to have, and I heard my mother, and she said hello, and then she has this strange laugh she does after she says hello, and I was like, oh, great, I better get up. So got up, got myself dressed, got myself ready for the day, walked out to greet my mother, and my sister was there at the time, living there, and I said, oh, where is she, And she's like, what are you talking about? And I said, well, where's Mum? And she said, well, Mum's not even here. So that I could say it. I wasn't very impressed. I could have still been sleeping. And as I said, my sister was living with me at the time, and her fiance was staying over one night, and he got woken in the middle of the night by something kind of standing over him and looking at him.
Oh my gosh.
Now, my sister's fiance he was a huge skeptic. And so he just kind of put it down to maybe I'm half asleep, so he went back to sleep. This happened again a couple of times. And then on another night, he woke up to someone actually playing with his feet.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, wow.
So basically that was it. My sister had to move out and find her own place because her fiance refused to ever stay again. Needless to say, he's no longer a skeptic. He's a full believer. Now, what's strange, though, is that he's the only one that's really had any kind of negative experiences in my home. Everyone else has actually been quite happy in our house. And I've got so many stories to talk about, guys, and I will get to these stories for you one day. One of them includes also us having to actually do a bit of a cleansing at the house. But as I said, we will get back to this because I've just looked at the time and our time is up for another week.
Oh, wow. That's so fast.
Are you going to be here with me next week, Jess, or am I going to have to fly solo?
No, I hope I'm going to be here every single time.
I'm
yay. Aiming to.
We should get we should get your sister Sophia in too.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining us again. Remember, this is the Paranormal Perspectives show, but our team name is Paranormal Journeys and Investigations. Find us on Facebook, send us an email, paranormaljourneys@outlook.com. Any stories you've got, any topics you want us to talk about, let us know, drop a line, and we'll catch you next week. See ya.
Bye.